This conference will now be recorded.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, they also recognize October as National Pedestrian Safety Month. So we transitioned from celebrating Walk to School Month to pedestrian safety, and with an emphasis on safety to really highlight what we're all about, reducing traffic fatalities and improving safety. So the resolution highlights education over actual activities. And so some of the things that we've already done is Jolie Person with TechStop came and spoke at our TAC meeting, and she provided a bunch of print collateral that we've been distributing out to the schools and to the local areas. Do we have any questions?
Any questions? If there aren't any questions, I'll entertain a motion to recommend approval. Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? That motion carries. All right. Agenda item 5 is a discussion and action item regarding recommending approval of the KTMPO TAC and Policy Board meeting schedules for calendar year 2026. Callie?
All right, could we move the slide? All right, so the current year 2025 through to December was approved last year, so we'll be having our meeting in October and then still no scheduled meetings in November or December. And then looking ahead to current year 2026, of course, TAC will meet on the first Wednesday of each month and Policy Board on the third Wednesday. And again, there will be no meetings in August, November, or December unless a special meeting is needed, or then the Policy Board Chair will be able to schedule that meeting. And then for September, again, we'll need to either move the Policy Board meeting up by a week or back by a week because the AMPO annual conference is conflicting with that third Wednesday. So the next step is to present this to Policy Board for approval, but I guess we will need them to decide if they'd like to move that meeting up a week or back a week. And if you go to the next slide, that's the proposed calendar that we have. Are there any questions or any conflicts that you foresee within this calendar?
Do you want us to make a recommendation for the 9th or the 23rd?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So if we're ready, I'll make a motion.
I'm ready.
Okay. I move that we approve the schedule as presented with the meeting in the policy board meeting in September of 26 being moved to the 23rd, since there are 5 Wednesdays in September of that year.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, agenda item 6 is a discussion and possible action item regarding recommending approval of KTMPO Logo and seal redesign. Just so everybody's aware, SICOG has a marketing and communications manager on staff, and they've gone through and kind of redesigned the SICOG logo and feel a little bit, changed a little bit of the colors, not a lot of big changes. But what this item is for us to kind of, so we don't have 2 different color palettes for KTMPO and SICOG, since we're all under the, since KTMPO is under the SICOG umbrella agency, if you will, as our fiscal agent. It just kind of eases the process of ordering things when you have to put in specific color, color IDs and all of that. What we've got on the screen and in your packet was kind of premature. I wanted to continue to include it because this is what some of the SICOG staff have put together, the admin staff, for consideration. But what we were really looking and focusing on is going from the original KTMPO logo, which is up there with a lighter shade of blue, to option 1, which is just a darker color schematic, if you will, to more closely align with the new SICOG color palette. If there is an appetite for a wholesale, I guess if you will, revision, there are some possible options up there, but I don't even know what the appetite is for that right now. Redesigning the KTMPO logo and seal, but this really was intended to bring us in line with kind of the color scheme. The only other big change to the option 1 logo up there is it takes our metropolitan planning organization that's all lowercase and makes it all capital with a different font. So with that, I'm open to any questions, conversations. Is Kylie online if there are any questions? I don't know if she was going to be able to make it. Okay.
So the flag that's in option 2 and 3, that matches the current color graphic.
Correct, that seal.
Right. Now, are they proposing to change the seal? Or are they just updating the colors, keeping the general same graphics?
So for this right here, option 1, of course, keeps the seal. It keeps everything the same except the color and the font.
Right.
If that's the appetite of the board, great. But if something like options 2 through 7 are desired, or if you want to look at changing the seal, I wasn't around when that was designed, so I don't really know, but we're happy to explore those as well. So there's, this isn't if do or die, we have to do something today or the world falls apart.
Well, I was around when we called it the kite.
I know.
The idea just to have something that indicates like motion and cycles, which is the nature of this organization. At the time, there wasn't a push to have the COG branding and the MPO branding and the ADRC. There was not a push to have all the different programs and agencies similar. What I'm hearing is that's the case now.
Yes, we would kind of like to be similar.
Yeah.
When people hear KTMPO, They don't know what the cog is. When people hear the cog, they don't know what KTMPO is. We're all, provided the technical splits, we're all the same organization. We're all the same staff. We all do the same work. So I think this, even just the slight color change will bring it more in line with the new SITCOG color and font and formatting.
I guess what I'm getting to is if we as a TAC want to recommend a specific option and that ends up somehow, don't know how, but it ends up in conflict with what the COGS branding is, who wins that fight? We're not going to dictate what the COG looks like.
Right.
Commissioners might, y'all sit on the executive.
We don't care that much about it.
And that's, I think, what it comes down
Yeah.
to is that this, I don't even know if this needs to be a TAC recommendation or if this is something that COG and the MPO staff, just as staff, y'all synchronize it and keep us informed. I mean, even though I've been around since that kite came into existence.
That was helpful information because nobody knew what that kite was for.
That was the idea. We called it the kite because we all looked and said, what the hell is that supposed to be? I think it was Kendra's like, it looks like a kite. Okay, that's what it is. I don't have a great personal attachment. It's a graphic.
Right.
So I'm agnostic for the whole thing.
I think ultimately the policy board will be the one that has decided anyway, but we would like input from TAC in order to do that. I think some of the idea behind this was certainly to match COG's color scheme and logo, because oftentimes they're printed together and just it shows that they're together. I think the area where it says Metropolitan Planning Organization inside the graphic, all that gets really small. So when you start putting that on letterhead, that's going to wash. You're not even going to see it. So that was why that was separated out. My understanding is that's why that was separated out to begin with. So it could get smaller and you still see Metropolitan Planning Organization on there. So people know what it was. Most people don't know what KTMPO stands for at all. The kite also kind of made it look like the O was something other than an O. And so it was, what's KTMP? We got that a lot. Putting the roadway in there kind of at least suggests that it has something to do with roads. So that was kind of the thought process behind some of that. So we're just, if there's no input, that's fine. We just don't like doing anything at the policy board without understanding that TAC needs to have some input. That's how we're designed. So we want to bring it up to you.
I think I prefer option 2 because it kind of ties in the SITCOG logo a little bit, the Texas flag, and you can actually read exactly what it is. It's cleaner looking to me, so I would prefer option 2.
I think if there was a revision to option 4, where you put Killeen-Temple in the gray and then Metropolitan Planning Organization below, I think that I would like that a lot more, but in lieu of that, option 2, I think ties them together.
The only concern with putting a state flag on there was it looked like a state agency. And it's not, it's local, it's right here. Certainly part of the state that's on it. Love putting the Texas flag on whatever we can put it on, we're Texans. But that's why, and also wash the O again to where, look, was that the state flag or is that an O? So again, I think that's why some of the options, 4, 5, 6, and 7, just put the O on there and then put a roadway in there so people can identify it with. It's got something to do with roads, because you're still reading Killeen-Temple Metropolitan Planning Organization. Where are you planning? Well, roads. And to try to explain a little bit better what we do and who we are to the general public. And not only that, but even once somebody learns what it is, a year later they see KTMPO and they go, what is that? If there's a road on there, they go, oh yeah, that's a group that does roads. So that was kind of some of the idea about marketing.
Well, no action has to be taken. I mean, this is really just a discussion item. I'm sure Kylie will listen in and we'll discuss it again also at the policy board. next week to get some more input. Like I said, it's a logo. I'm probably not going to lose a whole lot of sleep.
Yeah, nobody's that worried about
whichever
it.
way it goes.
But it is our 50th anniversary too, and so it's kind of a good time to do this as well.
True.
What it's worth, I like the K on option 6, that little road. I don't know why, I just like the road.
Yeah, 5 and 7 and 4 are a little busy. 6 is clean, but it still gives that idea of transportation movement. But it's still clearly a K. 7, it's not entirely clear that's a K to me.
It's more clear it's a road than a K.
Yeah.
I think the dashes do add to the roadway. They're just stripes.
Like I said, we'll share this feedback with the policy board. I'll share it with the marketing, with Kylie.
And maybe even look at option 4, if there's a way to make it look more like option 6, but with that dash line, you know, kind of make the K more prominent.
Okay.
And I'm glad you printed what's in the blue in black and white, because that actually, some of the stuff we do print will be in black and white.
Yeah.
And that actually helps you to see that'll be different.
Is there any action or no action?
Technicians don't care, that's what I'll tell policy.
I didn't want the truth.
One thing though, is like between 2 or 3, actually 4 and 7, just you got the blocky letters, it's kind of reminds me of a license plate. It's very blocky.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
But it'll pop in black and white and design it.
But no, actually, I do like I like the K in option 6 too, just a little cleaner. The dash adds a little, on 7, just adds a little too much. It seems like just a little subtle thing, but yeah, it really, a little different.
All right. Any other discussion? This agenda item? No action on that. We'll move to agenda item 7, which is a discussion and action item regarding recommending approval of a vendor for the KTMPO website redesign. If you'll recall, I think it was 1.5 years, 2 years ago, we made an amendment to the UPWP for a website redesign for KTMPO. Following that revision, then new ADA requirements came out and they have to be in place by April 2026. This is another effort that we've been working with the communications staff on, and they have gotten quotes from Presley Design and an agency called Golden Shovel. That information is in your packet. I don't know if it's, if any of that is in the, nope, in the slide deck. That information's in the packet. The cost for Presley is significantly more than the Golden Shovel. We have had multiple conversations with both of these entities. We did reach out to a third vendor. They don't have the capacity to support website redesign for the COG and for the NPO at the same time. Like I said, we have funding set aside in our UPWP for this effort of $50,000. So with that, what I'm looking for is for policy or recommendation to policy board to move forward with the vendor selected by the COG for this effort, and that would actually be Golden Shovel. Just due to cost, the cost is significantly less. The media package cost is significantly less, and after their maintenance annually, there's a maintenance that would be paid by the NPO for our standalone website. After 4 years on that maintenance tier, you get a free website redesign, so we wouldn't have to do an initial redesign again. That's included in that maintenance package. So with that, like I said, we're looking to have a discussion, conversation, try to answer any questions I can. I believe that after policy board takes action, we will start moving forward with this, and KTMPO will be the website done prior to SIGCOG's. SIGCOG has a little more, has a few more aspects that they need to cover in there. It's like the ADRC and all of that. So I believe we're first up following any action.
Both these vendors are Power 3 North Wall.
I have the same question.
No, they're not. That's incorrect. I'll have to.
Kendra said that was, admin must have pasted the same address in both. That was my question was, is this like, are they a subsidiary of redesign?
No.
No. Okay. So where is, how did you guys find Golden Shovel? Who are they? And what projects have they done that we could look at?
Okay, so has Kylie made it online yet?
I don't see her.
Okay. I guess she's not gonna, we can send out some of their information. I was hoping to have the quote sheet included in the packet, but we didn't have time to get it in. So following the meeting, we can send out the quote information they sent us.
Who's funding this? These SIGCOG funds they're doing?
So SIGCOG would fund SIGCOG's. What? KTMPO would fund the KTMPO website. There is a breakdown of how those costs are. We have like an Excel spreadsheet.
Was this portion just Tempos or is this the whole thing?
That's the whole thing. Yeah. And we have $50,000 in the UPWP for this effort. I believe the quote for what is this called? The media package, KTMPO would pay half of that. It would be split. And then for the actual website, I believe it's another. It's not even half of the $37,450. It's more like $9,990, $14,000. I just don't have it in my head.
So ultimately, we didn't want to go with the SIGCOG's, I think, or left along on this where that, I mean, this is kind of decided at SIGCOG already here.
Yeah, they're moving, they're starting the process of moving forward. They're not going as fast as the MPO though, because the MPO, we have those funds in our UPWP. And we got them approved through federal highway, so we need to keep the momentum.
I'm just not recalling us voting on this yet.
No, not yet. That's what this, yeah, this is, when the policy board took action, it was to put $50,000 in the UPWP. This would be to actually use the $50,000 for the project.
I'm talking about SIGCOG.
No,
SIGCOG hasn't voted on this yet.
no, SIGCOG has a different threshold.
Okay, we're not gonna have to vote on it.
I don't believe so.
I think better. So I guess my question then would be, if SIGCOG's moving forward on this already and they're making the heavy lift on all this, they've vetted it and they've done it. If we say, we don't like this, we don't want it, I don't know why we'd say that because we haven't seen any of these, but ultimately, if we look at all this and we say we don't like it, we go out on our own, that's gonna cost us more and it's gonna be, eventually it's not gonna interface. So I kind of feel like, I know we're kind of leaving it to SIGCOG to do the heavy lift, but I don't know how much I want to kick against the pricks on this, I guess, is what I'm saying. And stake out on our own and have our own website and our own separate SIGCOG. I think that'll cost us a lot more. Unless this is just a terrible vendor, which I can't imagine it would be if SIGCOG's going to use it. I don't know how involved I want to get in this.
And if it turns out they're a terrible vendor, then there's probably some escape clause in the contract that says you fail to deliver X, Y, and Z, you fail to provide support. the website isn't usable, whatever, they can be dropped as a contractor and we can start over.
Yeah, we typically make sure those escape clauses.
Right. And if it goes back to the idea of having that branding, that similarity, then the function of the website has some similarity, then that just ties that identity back like we talked about. And having been involved with the process of selecting Presley back, I think it was like 15 years ago, and how that support evolved over time, I think that would be the biggest question. It's less about what the website looks like, because you can tweak that to your heart's content. You can set it up where someone on staff, if you want to add a new page, you add the page, it adds it to the menu, the whole back end of the website does that for you. It's the question of if something stops working, like a payment portal, or I want to add this page, but I want to have the menu appear a certain way, and I can't figure out how to do it myself, can you make that work? Add a calendar, add some spam filter so it doesn't collect all of our emails, because we're all out there. So when you guys run into a brick wall and you have to ask them for support, how responsive are they? And I can tell you, there was horror stories when we first launched some of the websites that Jim Reed called me on a Saturday morning. Have you seen the DVCT page? You know what? It's somehow it had got hacked, and it had ads linking out to watches and porn and Chinese knockoff clothing. It was a mess. And we would go in and just basically deactivate it until we could get it fixed.
Or hits
So like we diligence the website. That's a good watch to deal with. But that would be my question for staff, is really dig into them for the support and the responsiveness, the training. That if there's something that staff can do for yourselves, you don't have to pay them a fee every time they publish the agenda, every time they add a new tab on the menu. Hey, we got the archives for the meetings, 24, 25, 26. Hey, put a tab for 23. And they do that and they charge you an hourly rate. And there was some stuff that we had to pay that hourly rate for above and beyond stuff present. I think that would be, that.
Yeah, we still do. My
How much
understanding
of
is that is all included in our tier of
Okay.
support package.
That's, I would just be extra careful that they don't have an hourly, that you get hit with afterwards, if that racks up.
Any other questions? Like I said, this is an action item. If the TAC would like to, what was it? Oh, yeah, you can put it up, we can walk through it. They're gonna pull up the PowerPoint for the actual website design from Golden Shovel. So you can see its costs. I think that's what it was. My eyes are not what they used to be, so. For now.
It's. Yeah. I'm actually clicking all the wrong buttons. One second.
Fortunately, it's not in PowerPoint format, but I'll try and fit this.
And we can send this out following the meeting as well. Yeah, keep going down. I think there should be a cost breakout. So go back down. Or maybe it was up. I was going to say, so they're in 44 states. They're basically, essentially they're an economic development. They typically cater to economic development corporations. There is at least one COG in Texas I know that uses them. I believe it's Panhandle region.
Yeah, here's the cost.
Yeah, it's either Panhandle region or Permian Basin. I want to say Panhandle Regional Planning Commission. They use that website. The cost, of course, is on the screen now. Yeah, the KTMPO portion would be right around $99.50 for the actual website design itself, because it's in this proposal, it's kind of like a child site, if you will. But those are the overall costs. Scroll down. And then the monthly cost would be $1,000, and that's that annual, or that's that maintenance and support package.
Scroll up, wasn't there another yearly cost?
The
Section?
Yeah, the other yearly cost, if you go up, David, the website lead generation.
Oh, okay.
Is that one?
Doing sales.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So that's the breakdown of the costs. We'll send this information out as well so you can see it a little bit better on your screen. Like I said, the actual goal of the agenda item is, to make a recommendation to policy board on whether we want to go with kind of what CICOG's doing or go our own way. It's like Commissioner Whitson referenced, we could hit some snafus. They're providing us a pretty good discount for all the websites that they're going to need to do, child sites and pub site. So.
And you have two quote costs on here. Does the quote cost include like all of these annual and extra? Are we comparing apples to apples?
That's a good question. I don't know.
As far as staff goes, do we have separate staff that update KTMPO website versus CICOG website, or the same personnel?
Basically the same personnel.
It would be more efficient for them to be able to go to one side.
Correct.
Do all the same thing the same way.
Yeah. I can probably get a cleaner cutout.
So for the time being, and in light of the ADA requirement of April coming up, I'm ready to make a motion, but I want it caveated that I think we need to make sure the next time we present something like this, that we're looking apples to apples. We need all those hidden costs that are in the proposal in the dollar amount. But in lieu of, like I said, ADA and all that, I move that we approve moving forward with Golden Shovel as per the recommendation of the COG.
Second. Further discussion?
That does show that it's an optional upgrade. I don't know how much lead generation KTMPO needs for some.
Yeah, I think that's for
Probably not.
Yeah, that probably has more to do with the economic development side. I'm not a web designer, so I don't know what the purpose that was on there for. I'm sure the SIGCOG staff probably have more information, and hopefully they'll be able to attend the policy board meeting as well. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that motion passes. Agenda item 8 is a discussion and action item regarding recommending approval of a vendor for the Transportation Improvement Program Management Software. This is another item that we had amended the UPWP to include. I believe we put $50,000 in that item in the UPWP. Over the past 6 months, 8 months, we've been going through this process, looking at vendors. As you'll see in your packet, there are 2 vendors to select from that we got quotes from. One is Tetra Tech and one is Eco Interactive. As you'll see in the packet, Eco Interactive is a less costly option, but in the meetings we had and in the demonstrations, Tetra Tech seemed to be the software solution that would best assist us in what we need to do. And what we're trying to do. So, Callie, would you like to speak to the differences of either, or why Tetra Tech, you think Tetra Tech?
Yeah, we've met with both of these vendors almost, I think, about a year, and just kind of like, we've explored both of them, I think, very thoroughly, and what we were really impressed by with Tetra Tech is their ability to customize to us, like, almost like down to like the tiniest little detail. They can, like, if we say, can it do this, they would always be able to say, like, yes, and they would show us how their software system could be tailored to us, which I think is extremely important for our NPO, because we, we're small, but we also cover a wide region, so it's just, we felt that it would best fit our needs for our, unique area and what we're needing our software to do, so that's why we settled with Tetra Tech. For this, we're recommending it more than we are the Eco Interactive.
Yeah, the Eco Interactive, correct me if I'm wrong, is really modules. So you select whatever modules you think you need for what we were hoping to accomplish, and with this activity, it's really tracking the TID. This will allow entities to update, make amendments in the TID without a back and forth to Callie. Callie doesn't have to copy and paste from an Excel spreadsheet and text.connect and then send it to the STIP team. It really just makes things more efficient across the board. The Eco Interactive platform, like I said, it's modules. So you could get a module to do part of this, and then you'd have to get another module to do that. But it has 5 other things that we don't really need to pay for. We're not interested in. Tetra Tech customizes what you're going to be using the software for. And, it's not module based, if you will.
I'll also add that I've utilized Tetra Tech myself, and I'm very familiar with some of their engineers. The other one, I have some concerns because I noticed going through their list of cogs that they don't have any here in Texas. And so the nuances of what we're doing here, I think Tetra Tech is well aware of the type of things we asked for down here.
Well, with that customization, it makes more sense that they're charging a little bit more upfront because they're going to be doing a lot more work. Right. You just say, here's your modules. And if that's, it's both are within the budget. The staff recommends the efficiency of the other, and I would back staff on that. I'll push for that. Yeah, sure.
Any other?
I guess that's a form of motion.
A motion?
You got hands up.
Yeah. Judge Miller has a comment online.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
He says, I support the staff's recommendation to select Tetra Tech. They are ultimately the end users, and I believe we should support their desires.
I think that's a second.
Since he can't do it from afar, I'll second.
Oh, yeah.
All right, any-
Also worked with Tetra Tech a lot over the years. They're a solid company, good technical, good engineers.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that motion carries. Agenda item 9 is a discussion and action item regarding recommending approval of solicitation for consultant services for the MTP project scoring components to include the congestion management process, CMP, regional vulnerability and resiliency framework, travel demand model demographics, and objective scoring. This is an action item to issue these task orders. So we've gone through a couple different procurement processes as the MPO. When I first arrived, we had general consultants. We issued task orders to that would reply and bid on specific jobs. So we kind of went away from that and went back to everything's an RFP all day, every day of RFPs. And then there was this big lull where we weren't doing any procurement at all. The COG entered into an agreement with the 791 Cooperative, which is a cooperative purchasing solutions board, if you will. We did run KTMPO ran a planning support RFP through them, received some vendors. So we would like to use those vendors and issue these task orders to those vendors and then bring back that information for the TAC and the policy board to recommend which vendor to ultimately go with. I believe they received four responses for the planning services. Now, that being said, if we issue these task orders for the upcoming MTP cycle and update, and we don't get any responses, we can always go out and issue a full RFP. Either way, I mean, we can do that without going through the task order process, or we can use this task order process that's in front of you right now, send that out to the vendors that are on the buy board, and bring back that information to make a determination after that. But the task order, the draft task orders are in your packet. And I think we're looking for a recommendation to approve those task orders being sent out so that we can start receiving responses for that.
Make a motion before we all fall asleep, that you do that.
Are there any other questions, comments, concerns?
I think the only question I've got, most of these are independent. We can update the CMP and the other stuff. Travel demand model, TxDOT manages all those models so that there's.
Correct, and we've been working with TxDOT.
Yeah.
This portion, the demographics, we are responsible for, and we have to get an engineering consultant to provide the updated demographic.
When are those due to TTI? Have they given you a deadline?
They have given us a timeline, and I just don't have that in my head. We kind of, TTI worked with us to back into where we needed to be for the updated model. Last model we did, I think we just did a refresh with an update of a base year. So this time we're required to do the entire full model update.
And that whole process takes a couple of years. There's a workplace survey that they will have someone come out all across the region. Then they'll do demographics based on census data, all that.
I think, you know,
And then TTI starts doing model runs, calibrate the damn thing. It's a couple of years process if you've been through it.
yeah, I want to say we were shooting at 18 months for the TDM demographics.
Yeah.
That's correct, from what I'm remembering.
I'm trying to remember, because this year TxDOT's also, they're doing the urban saturation counts too. I'm trying to remember if that was connected to that, or if it just happens to be, we're doing it this year. Yeah. It's been a minute since I've been more directly involved with it.
But I know that that's one of the main ones that we really need to start moving with in order to meet our timeline. Question?
Judge Miller commented online. He said, I have utilized the consultant services method, utilizing task orders, and have found it to be very responsive, flexible, and timely. I support this action.
We did have a motion, right?
A second.
Were you the second? Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any other? Bless you. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion carries. All right, agenda item 10 is a discussion item regarding an invitation to KTMPO's 50th anniversary celebration on October 15th, 2025. David.
Pretty much everything out there kind of lays it out. For the, October 15th, we're going to be celebrating the KTMPO 50th anniversary celebration. We're still kind of in the process of putting that together. We're going to have a video just kind of looking back over the past 50 years regarding kind of transportation, the region's development, things like that. We're kind of getting the last map put together. We've gone around, done a few kind of interviews, recorded some segments. I'm hoping to have that finished within the next couple of weeks. So I'll be reaching out to a couple more people to try and get a couple more video shoots in. But yeah, we're hoping to have video and everything like that put together by the end of this month so that we can roll it out October 15th. And obviously everyone here is invited. I think some people here will be a part of the video. So we're hoping to have that completely ready by the end of this month and then get that out to y'all on October 15th.
Is that gonna be here?
That'll be here. It'll probably make the meeting a little bit longer, FYI.
Yeah, just a bit longer. So some of the specific, we're discussing a little bit about what'll, about anything else that might be involved. We might have some small, refreshments, things like that provided as well. We'll see. We'll as we get a little closer to the date, we'll send out some more specifics about that.
Any questions on that item? Seeing none, agenda item 11 is a discussion item regarding an update to the FY 2026 Unified Transportation Program UTP funding. Callie.
All right, so this is for the FY 26 UTP funding program. It's an update on those categories. So the main funding categories that KTMPO utilizes is Cat 2, Cat 7, Cat 9, and Cat 10 CR. And if you go to the next slide, we have a historical allocation of what we've received from 2020 to 2025. And then we have, in the next slide, our what we're currently expected to receive for the UTP from 2026 to 2029. And then also in your packet, we've included the 10-year projected planning allocations in each fiscal year and a breakdown of each categories within our tip window. It's not on the slide here, but it is within your packet. And it just helps us illustrate how we could apply this funding over time. Within the category 9, we do have participated error for state selected projects that are included within our MPO total, and once those are taken out, we will not have an overage in that category. So there's a slight overage there. And then within Cat 2, we have that big US 190 bypass project, and then also the Business 190 Phase 4 Copper's Cove project is included in that total, and it now has a let date of 29, so it shouldn't be included within that tip window as well. So those are the two categories that we do have overages in. Everything else is fiscally constrained.
Also, we did see a reduction in Cat 2, but then it starts to go back up from 26 to 29. I think that a lot of that had to do with fiscal constraint on the states, what the state has programmed throughout the state as a whole. Any questions on the UTP?
I want to add something to it. So one not surprise that came out of this UTP is that we did end up getting an additional $180 million of category 12 funds to go towards the I-35. So that leaves us with a funding gap of about $230 million, I think. So it's not fully funded, but it's better than nothing, and we're getting that closer. So.
What year were they? I guess they approved the Cat 12 funds for that project. How long will those Cat 12 funds stay on that project? Just indefinitely, or is there a 10-year, hey, you've had these Cat 12 funds on hold for 10 years?
It'll stay there on there as long as a better project can come along that they want to use the funds. So,
Okay.
We're developing it. It's got operational issues. We know it needs to be done. They know it needs to be done. I don't see them kind of taking it away. I see us getting more in the future and actually do the project.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions on the UTP? Agenda item 12 is a discussion item regarding amendments to the FY25-28 TIP and 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, Callie.
All right, so this is just a discussion item for the November STIP revision, and we'll bring these amendments again forward to TAC and Policy Board in October. This is, the TIP is our 4-year planning document, FY25 to 28, and our MTP is the 25-year-long range plan up through 2050. For the formal amendments, we have 8 Hill Country Transit District projects. They'll be deleting 4 projects, which are the non-revenue support vehicles and revenue rolling stock, and then adding 4 new projects, including a safety and security system, bus facility rehabilitation improvements, and the shop equipment. And then we've got an addition to the TIP with our highway project. It's the H4003C, the FM3481 at Chapel Road. It's the phase 3. This has been listed in our MTP and our TIP, but is now included with the 2026 UTP. So we're able to add it up to the East TIP so it can be officially included in our TIP as well. So we've just been waiting for that one. We are also waiting for the Business 190 Phase 4 to be included in the UTP, and it has been. However, its let date is now 2029, so that is outside of our TIP window, so it will be moved to our short range plan that is outside of our TIP window, so it'll be the short range for FY29 through 34. And then we have 2 administrative amendments for the Rancier Avenue and for the I-35, the preliminary engineering. Those are 2 amendments we had last amendment cycle, and we have moved those into the group project listing. Those are done under guidance from the STEP team and TxDOT, and the goal is to decrease the time we have to bring these projects forward for amendments in the future. The funding category does not change, and the funding amount does not change. They're just qualified to be listed in the group project listing. So we move them there because it's overall beneficial for everyone that they're easier to, get them moving through and less hiccups down the line for those 2. So that's the 2 administrative amendments we have for this cycle. And then with that, I'll hand it over to Anita for the public comment period.
Thank you. We've got 3 public comment periods scheduled. September the 19th is going to be at the Coppers Cove Public Library. September 22nd will be a virtual meeting, and September 23rd, we'll host a table at the Senior Citizen Expo at the Cadence Bank Center. All of these public meetings will be a meet and greet open house type, and we'll have surveys available. Hill Country Transit District is going to provide some photos to supplement the survey questions, and that will also be available online.
With that, does anyone have any questions?
Do we have any concern that all of the public input periods are during the day and none are at night?
Actually, I did have a bit of a concern, Christina. Some of these projects were introduced late in our ability to plan, and so we had to select date and times what were available in the research. I think that you and I, we had a little conversation beforehand. I really wanted that one for Chaparral Road to be at Harker Heights, but there was a staff transition, and so I wasn't able to get a commitment there. I do know now that you're over that, so that would be great for future. And so in an effort to get these dates on paper, this is what I was able to gather.
Do we still have the ability to add dates or
Yes, it's totally up to everyone here.
add a couple times
Yes.
if there is a concern that we possibly need to have some in the evening?
I think that's a great idea. And Christina, if you want to have a conversation, maybe we could do something over at in Harker Heights. I was thinking I was looking at the calendar and looking at events that y'all have coming up. There's no farmer's market during this time frame, so I couldn't do a Saturday. I looked at other events on your calendar, and if you know something that's going to automatically attract some citizens coming in the evening at one of your Park and Recs event,
Okay.
I'd be happy to have a conversation and flex out and pivot and do what we need to do to get the public comments.
We've already had a public comment period at Heights. It was pretty well attended for this.
Yeah.
intersection.
I had that discussion with them before, and because it's an official motion to get them back up or to get pulled out in its own project on the STIP, we have to have another one.
Yeah, we had a lot of people there. It was really well attended. We had a lot of it.
I can probably get you in that time. So I was trying to pull it up, see if I can get a quick answer.
I looked all over your website to see what I could join in on with the traffic, and I.
Should come to the budget hearing sites.
I try to avoid fire.
This is spring month, so they should be happy.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for you, Anita, from Mr. Judge Miller.
Yes.
He said historically, what has been the level of citizen involvement of these public meetings?
Well, we're going to be going to public comments, but over the course of 3 years, our public engagement has grown, and it's in collaboration with our online surveys. Whoever is the city's impacted by these amendments, they usually do a great push on social media to share what's happening. And so we could have anywhere from 5 to 12 to 20 comments, just depending on how topic a road is. And I felt like Chaparral was, even though we've already sent that out for public comment, anytime we say Chaparral Road, the community is going to be listening to what we have to say about it. And so that was my initial push to have something in Harker Heights.
Any other discussion on this item? 25,
Did
28.
that answer his question?
Yes, and he has a follow-up, and he said, and would an evening virtual meeting be an efficient means to allow for public engagement?
I think it's always very, very helpful to give a Saturday or an evening, because that's when the working class are going to be free. So if no one shows up, no one shows up, but I think it's really important to, for us to flex and give them that opportunity to show up. Is that helpful, Judge Miller?
He said, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, discussion on? This is just a discussion item, no action is needed at this time. All right, agenda item 13 is a discussion item regarding possible updates to funding and scoring methodology. If you can remember all the way back to our last meeting in July, I believe it was, we had conversation about possibly updating our funding, scoring and prioritization methodology. Following that, the policy board asks staff to kind of go out there and do a little research, see what some of the other NPOs are doing and how they fund projects. This was really brought up because we found out we can no longer, provide 10% of our CAS directly to the HOP. There needed to be a competitive process. That being said, we did reach out. We had meetings with the North Central Texas Council of Governments, which is the NPO up there. I just, in all transparency, they are a little too far removed from what we currently do. I think if we were to explore what their methodology is, we would be spinning our tires for years to try to get to what they're doing, the way they do their call process, their scoring, plus the amount of money they have allows them some flexibility that we don't really have, and their staff level. We don't have a 35-person TIF team, so we also looked at the capital area NPO, Austin, right to our south. They have a process that I believe could be beneficial up here, where they score and rank and prioritize every project. It has certain stages that it has to go through, and if it doesn't meet this stage, then it doesn't move forward, and it gets kicked back till the next project call. I think that is something we very well could implement here. We would kind of have to, massage it to work with our funding and our staffing levels, but I think that's a methodology that could potentially work for us, not only to provide funding for transit projects or projects we don't typically think about, but for other projects that come up, because at the end of the day, what their scoring does is it takes everything and assigns it a score of between 1 to 100, and that's where it moves into the funding line. So whether it's a transit project, an ITS project, a direct roadway project, wherever it is, that's where it goes. Similar to what we do now based on funding availability. The biggest thing is the readiness aspect that they include, which is a very big push by federal highways right now. Readiness, readiness, readiness. And we've experienced some readiness issues in our region, which is why it's probably beneficial to entertain something like this. And then there's also a benefit cost analysis that is directly associated as well, which is a requirement with the federal funds. So I'll probably reach out to them if the policy board would like me to, and schedule either for them to present at the TAC and policy board, or a joint workshop to kind of to speak to how they do things. They said they'd be happy to have those conversations with us. That way, the people that are actually doing the scoring and all of that would be able to contribute to the conversation. I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Callie, that But their TAC does not score anything. No, it's, the TAC develops the methodology and works with the policy board on the methodology. But the TAC is totally removed from any scoring. It goes through a very basic, basically a checklist of, do you have this, do you have this, do you have this, do you have this? And there's no, you know, on a scale of 1 to 5, you either get a 1 or you get a 5. There's no 3, there's no 3.5, there's no 4. And what that does is, as he explained it, is, you know, I wake up on Tuesday, I feel great, this project is a 5, but I wake up the next day feeling kind of blah, didn't get enough coffee. The project's a 3 today to me, you know, so it eliminates all of that. It's just an option. This is just a discussion item. If the policy board, you know, wants us to move forward with that, I'm happy to schedule Ryan from KTMPO to come up here and present, like I said, to either a workshop or the TAC. See how what those mechanics look like. Yeah. I don't want us to get too far off of what we've done, but I think we could definitely implement some of this probably, and it would be of benefit to the region as we continue to grow. So, any other questions on that? No? All right. Agenda item 14 is a discussion item regarding an update on the active transportation plan. Anita?
Thank you, sir. If you are able to look inside your packet, our objectives for the regional active transportation plan was to, for planning readiness and to improve our grant competitiveness. And it does also encourage multimodal integration. We, during this last quarter, we've had some challenges. One was our GIS limitation. I don't know, are y'all able to pull up that map, the digital map? If not, is the QR code inside of the? It is. If y'all want to use the QR code here, you can pull up that digital map and you'll see it reflects the initial round of public feedback, and it also, it has several layers. It has the school layer, it has the SS4A public engagement layers, and then it also has the layer of public feedback that we initiated in this recent round. You can scroll down, pull up that map. It's very great work that Kay has done. But we did, you know, once again, receive some limitations, and one was GIS and the GIS infrastructure within our community. Some communities have sidewalk infrastructure and our smaller ones do not, so that was one of the limitations. The way that I set up the survey, unfortunately, we had a public engagement period happening at that time, and so I thought it was a great idea to have 2 plans with a single survey and then trying to separate out those comments for the public engagement portion versus this specific plan. It got a little difficult to determine and look at the comments subjectively, so that was a lessons learned. However, we did receive over 70 responses, and most of them were, you know, very thoughtful responses, but it was hard to target and pinpoint a crossroad because I didn't request an intersection here. So that was a lessons learned opportunity for our next round of public engagement. If we move on to the updated transportation, the plan schedule itself, we plan to be finished with this in February of 2026 at the TAC meeting for final approval. We will have another round of public comments from December the 15th through January the 12th of 2026. And we also, when we have those rounds of public comments, we're going to be creating a digital map where it's going to be historical in nature, so that we'll always have it moving forward. And we've had some recommendations from our TAC committee is to continue to look at all of our work through the lens of this map. Do y'all have any questions?
Anita, I was looking around through some of the comments in Temple.
I'm sorry, say that again, sir?
On the limitations of the GIS, I was looking at some of the comments in Temple, and the comment relates to, for example, Pea Ridge Road, but it's placed somewhere else. Are you looking for some assistance of which comments need to be flagged for, just to place them more accurately?
If anyone wants to look at that and look at their region and, do a deep dive, if you've got the time, you can assist us with that. That would be great.
Okay, I'll send you some notes.
Thank you, Jason, for the assist and for looking deep at that.
Thank you, Anita. Any other questions on the active transportation plan update? Agenda item 15 is a discussion item regarding an update on the FY22 and FY25 Safe Streets and Roads and Falls grants. Callie.
All right, so as you know, we completed our Central Texas Roadway Safety Action Plan this year. So that grant is now coming to a close. And can we go back one? Yeah, okay. And so the big ticket item is obviously our in-kind match. And as of this morning, we are needing just under $9,000 or just over $9,300 in in-kind signatures. So that was a significant drop from where we've been. So I just really wanted to give a shout out to staff, especially Ashlyn and Kendra. They've been really instrumental in this final push to get these signatures for our in-kind match. And we're really confident we'll be able to close that gap and get us down to zero by the time this grant closes out. And I also just wanted to thank everybody else for getting their signatures into us and for all the time that you've dedicated to this project. We all really appreciate it. And then looking ahead to our planning and demonstration grant application, the news is we don't have any news yet, and we will update you as soon as we hear about that application.
Any questions or comments, Callie?
Just related, we have template projects that were developed through that process for HSIP funding. We submitted those and received word here recently. We didn't get selected, some of that. But you got to put it together to at least try.
Parker Heights had the same, we weren't selected either. We received notice.
We're all giving Victor dirty looks right now.
Does that mean Killeen got all of theirs?
All right. Anything else on the SS4A grants? Moving on. Agenda item 16 is a discussion item regarding public input received through August 2025. Anita.
If y'all take a look at the graph, in June, that's when we had our amendments for actually the amendments as well as the public comment for the plan. It ran June to July. So in June, we had 40 comments for the amendment, 30 comments for the plan in July, and 1 comment received through email or social media. In August, we had 3 comments. Some came through email, telephone, or social media, and those specific comments are all listed in the comment log. We have had a total of 111 comments for this year, and I'd give a shout out to Ashlyn for making the graph real pretty and very clear. Do y'all have any comments? Oh, can y'all go to the next slide, please? And this is the public comments by topics. So the interesting thing about this particular month on public comments is that we had 2 for bike ped. In the past, we really have not had any public comments regarding bicycle or pedestrian. They've mostly been about safety oriented, but specifically 2 comments on bike ped. So that's a shift, and I contribute that to the Regional Active Transportation Plan. Any comments, questions? Nothing from Judge Miller?
All right. Agenda item 17 is director's update. The meeting schedule on the screen and in your packet. September 10th, of course, is next week. That's our policy board meeting. We had to move that up from the third Wednesday because the AMPO meeting is the following week. And then we have our October meetings listed. At the next policy board meeting, the board will be selecting or electing officers, the position of chair and vice chair. AMPO and TEMPO updates. We have the AMPO meeting is September 14th through 19th in Providence, Rhode Island. So I believe 4 staff will be there. And then the following week, the TEMPO meeting will be in Laredo on the 25th and 26th. So I'll be down at that. Reauthorization efforts, another RFI has been issued for a basic request for information. I will, depending on what the timeline is, I will either submit and ask the board to ratify it next week, or I will get the board to pre-approve it. I can't remember what the cutoff date is for the RFI, but it will be almost a duplicate of what we've submitted for all the other RFIs that have come in regarding reauthorization efforts. And then the US DOT Safe Roads Initiative, where Secretary Duffy sent out a 60-day memo to all states to work within their state and with their MPOs to identify roads that need safety projects to be completed. The state of Texas went through that. They identified 25 roadway segments across the state based on congestion and crash rate and multiple other factors. KTMPO does have one project in that Safe Roads response to US DOT, and that is a project on 3470 from I-14 to 201 or Clear Creek. So it's a safety, it's identified as one of the segments that needs safety work and was submitted with TxDOT's information to US DOT for consideration. And then we have the air quality readings, which were 59 and 53 parts per billion. With that, I'm open to any questions on the director's update. All right. Seeing none, agenda item 18, member comments. Are there any member comments? No member comments. We will move to agenda item 19, which is adjournment. We will adjourn at 10:49. Thank you all.
Thank you.